If you're like me, you don't have time for all this. And maybe you're not like me. Maybe you do read this whole thing, but this is a lot of pages. Granted, it's a lot of different languages. I think English ends here. So it's only about a third of the book is all how-to. But I like to really get into it. I like to get the camera. I like to go out there and use it. I like to really just dive right into it and just forget the manual, you know. We got the camera. We've taken pictures before. I'm sure we can figure it out. So in this video, I'm going to show you some quick little adjustments that you can make to really take full advantage of your Canon R5, because this camera is sweet. Will Simpson here, and welcome to Exploring Photography. Firstly, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. We hit 1,000 last week, and it is so cool. I can't believe I just started this channel February of this year, February 13th of this year to be exact. So that is huge growth in my opinion, and I want to thank each and every one of you. So if you're new to this channel and haven't subscribed, well, maybe now's the time to join the journey, because here we're exploring photography, we're learning basics, we're learning cool little tips and tricks, and today I'm gonna go over some cool little adjustments that you can make to your Canon R5 to make it much easier to use, much more simple, because this camera is a beast. Oh my God. This camera is incredible. I love this camera, but it has so many features to it. I mean, you can go through the menus and there's just so much to it. There's a few little tweaks that I've made to mine that has made my ability to shoot photo and video much faster, little quick adjustments that are very simple. Now, the first thing we're gonna go over is how to switch between photo and video mode. Now, I know you might click off this video right there, but hear me out. When I first got this camera, I was coming from a Canon 6D, and there was a little switch right here that I could flip from photo mode to video mode. Super simple. So there's no switch on this whole thing. For me, coming from the Canon 6D, I was like, where is it? So to switch between modes, it's actually super simple, and it took me an embarrassing amount of time. I mean, an embarrassing amount of time. Yeah, we don't want to talk about it, but it's actually really simple. So all you do is you simply press the mode button on the top of the camera and then press info on the back of the camera, and there you go, you're switching between modes. You can then use the touchscreen to select which mode you want to be in, like aperture priority, shutter priority, or whatnot, but it's as simple as pressing mode and info. That switches between photo and video mode. Now for me, that wasn't fast enough. When I'm shooting, sometimes I'm photo, video, and I don't want to pull it away, press mode, info, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can do it, it's pretty quick, but for me, it wasn't fast enough. So what I did was I adjusted one of the buttons on my camera, and that is to do a quick change. To do this, I went to menu, went to the orange menu boxes, and I went to customize buttons, and then I found the manual function button. I believe the MFN, I think it's the manual function button, multi-function button. I went to the multi-function button, and I scrolled down until I found the little camera video icon, and I selected that. Now I changed this for photo mode and video mode, so no matter which mode I'm in, I change it to that mode. That way, all I have to do is press the manual function button and it switches between modes. Simple as that. However, this leads me into my next point, and that's finding your drive mode. You know, your 2-second timer, your 10-second timer, your high-speed shutter, so on and so forth. When I looked into the manual, you simply press the multi-function button and that brings it up. So what you have to do is you have to press your mode button, go into auto, full auto on the photo, and then when you press the multifunction button, it brings up your drive modes. Now there is another way to do this. When you're looking at the LCD screen, simply press the Q button on the back, and the Q button will bring up your different menu options on the back of the screen. Press the drive mode, which is the little square on the left side, and that'll bring up all your drive modes, and you can change it that way. So it's a little bit complicated, but it's not too bad. As long as you know, you can work with it. But just so you know, that's how to find your drive modes. All right, the next thing we want to go over is changing your method of autofocus tracking. The eye detection on this camera is so spot on, so pinpoint, it's absolutely incredible. However, there is an adjustment that you can make to make it work even better. And that's if you're working with people or animals. So all you do to adjust this one, go into your menu mode, go into your purple autofocus settings, scroll down to subject to detect and adjust it to people, animals, or no priority, whichever one suits your needs most. And that's it. The only thing is make sure you adjust it as you need it. So if you're shooting animals and you have it set to animals, then you go shoot people, make sure you change it to shoot people. I have tested where shooting animals with the people setting and people with the animal setting, it does work, but it doesn't work near as good as if it's adjusted to the appropriate setting. Just make sure you set that when you're shooting specific people or animals, because it'll just work that much better. And why not use the full optimization of this camera? Because let me tell you, yes please. The next one I want to go over is something I've always had trouble with, and that's manual focus. I've never been really good at it. I've practiced, but I can never seem to find that exact down to the millimeter pinpoint manual focus. I'm decent, but it took a lot of practice. So with this camera, with I think most mirrorless cameras, they have this feature, which is manual focus peaking. And let me tell you, it is spectacular. Remember, I'm coming from a Canon 6D, which was the DSLR. It doesn't have the focus peaking. So this is fantastic for me. There are two methods on the R5 that help you with manual focus. You can set the little box where you want the focus point, and it gives these two arrows, and as you adjust the manual focus ring, the two arrows come, and when they line up, they turn green, and that means you're in focus. But you can also have this really cool thing, which is manual focus peaking, and it gives you a red outline of what's in focus. To turn this on, go to menu, go to your autofocus number 2, go to peaking, and turn it on. Then you can adjust your level, how bright or low you want the color to be, and then you can adjust the color, red, yellow, blue, it doesn't matter. Once you've made those settings, turn your lens into manual mode if it's not already, and then when you put your focus point on there, you'll notice when it goes in focus, the subject turns red. So let's see here, we'll put it on the camera, and as I adjust the focus ring, you can see it turns red. I'll put it on the little sheep here, and as I turn the focus point, not only do the arrows turn green, but the sheep gets a little red halo. And that makes it so incredible. Let me tell you, the pinpoint focus for manual focus allows for the sharpest and crispest manual focus you've ever seen. And another feature that just makes this camera so great. I think other mirrorless cameras have this also, but it's worth it, man. Whew, it is so worth it. I love it. The next cool feature is the touch and drag option. With this camera, if you look on your LCD screen and you touch on the screen, it'll automatically focus on those things. However, let's say you're looking through the viewfinder and you want to change your focus, but you don't want to necessarily push up on the focus point and then look away and then push on the screen and then adjust all these things. You want to be able to quickly and easily adjust your focus points if it's not focusing on the exact thing. You don't want to take all that extra time. So what can you do? Well, you can turn on touch and drag focusing, which is incredible. So what you do is you go to menu, go to your autofocus settings number 1, go to touch and drag autofocus settings. Turn touch and drag on. The positions methoding, relative or absolute, is exactly where you're touching or kind of in the area. Then you can adjust the touch area, left, right, bottom, up, down, full, it doesn't matter. I have it set to right because I'm right-handed. So when I'm looking through the viewfinder and I have my thumb right here, I can then move it all around here and I can get my focus point set perfectly. So it works perfect for me. But if you're left-handed, it might be easier for you to do it this way. I'm not sure. It just kind of depends on what suits you, whichever one works best for you. The one thing I would say is don't use full screen, because what I found is when I'm doing this, my nose sometimes touches the screen when I'm going like this and it sets the focus point. So I just use right and I can adjust it quick and easy. And then I save the time of, you know, shoot, 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 move away, focus, shoot, shoot, shoot. I can just simply shoot, 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 adjust focus, shoot, shoot, shoot. And it makes it that much quicker. So definitely a really cool feature to have. I highly recommend setting that one to whatever you find works best for you. The next one I found that makes it really easy, and this is not a new thing for the R5. This is actually quite common on most cameras these days, but it is a feature that's worth mentioning, and that is setting your customized modes. It's very easy, but makes things much faster because, for example, for me, I shoot photo, 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 and then I quickly switch to B-roll 120, and then I quickly switch to vlogging 24. So it makes it a lot easier for me to just press mode, custom 1, mode, custom 2, rather than mode, manual, set the settings, 24 frames, etc., etc. So how do you do this? Well, you simply set all of your settings. So let's set it to video mode and then put it into manual. And then I'm going to change this to 120, go to movie recording, go to high frame rate, enable, and then I'm gonna make sure it's at 119 4K. Good, that looks good. The next thing you want to do is adjust your settings. Now, I clearly messed up here and I meant to set 250 as the shutter because you want to double your frame rate. And then you want to set your ISO at 100 because most of the times you're probably going to be shooting outside, and set an aperture of whatever you want, just what your basic settings are going to be. Then once you have your settings set to kind of your basic, because you can adjust the settings when you're in these modes, but you want to set it as a base setting. That way, you know, the one you use the most is the one that it's going to go to naturally. So then the next thing you want to do is go into your menu, go to the settings, and number 5 in the yellow. Click custom shooting mode, go to register settings, and then register it to the correct mode that you want. For example, for this one I use C2 because C1 is my vlogging or 24 frames. Then once you've adjusted that, repeat these steps for the next settings. You can do this for photo and video. Just make sure you're in the appropriate modes when you're setting this. And once that's done, then it's simply pressing mode C1, mode C2. Boom, you've just switched from 24 frames to 120 or however you have it set. It will speed things up so fast. Now, an additional little trick. On the top of the R5 is a little record button. This automatically sets to C3. So if you're in photo mode and you want to quickly record some B-roll, well, set your 120 frames or whatever your B-roll settings are to C3, because all you have to do is press this button. And if you're in photo mode, it'll automatically switch to C3. It'll record what you want. You press it again, it ends the recording, but puts you back into photo mode. It's kind of a quick release, so to speak, and it just makes things that much faster. So if you're doing a lot of videoing in one specific setup, then set that as your C3, because then all you have to do is press that, record, press that, you're back in photo mode, boom, done. Bob's your uncle, or whatever they say that is. And there you have it. These are some features of this camera that took me a little bit to figure out, but I think they'll be quite helpful to you, and now you don't have to worry about searching and trying to find them. Well, hopefully you found this video, but but these features will definitely help speed the time that it takes to learn a new camera. And instead of learning and spending all this time figuring it out, this will get you out taking those incredible pictures that I know you can using this beast of a camera. So I hope this was helpful. If you know of any additional tips or tricks that I didn't mention here, feel free to mention them down below. Or if you're not sure about something, some setting or some feature, also ask me below in the comments. Or if you just want to say hi, do that too, and I'll say hi back. So if this video was helpful, or if not, just either way, give it a like, helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's actually a really good time to subscribe and join this amazing journey of exploring photography. And I cannot wait to see what photos you guys take with this camera. So get out there, take some awesome photos, and I will see you next Monday.